I mean, sure, you could have your say and you could appeal, but I mean, you got to give the guy the 50-game suspension. I don't care if he's the National League MVP. I don't care if he's Ryan Braun. I don't care if he's all the Brewers have. You got to suspend the guy 50 games. He needs to serve his due diligence. Obviously, he's not going to anymore, but Ryan Braun, in my opinion, should have been suspended by the MLB. And if if they at least if he appealed it and they bought some of the stuff he was saying, maybe reduce it down to a 25-game suspension. But I think it's absolutely ridiculous that Ryan Braun got no punishment for taking steroids. And, I can see where guys like Melky Cabrera and Bartolo Colon might be arguing from their standpoint. Obviously, both guys have, at will accepted their suspension. But I really honestly do think that Ryan Braun should have been suspended last year. But, as we move on Chris's Corner, let's get to some scores in the MLB. A lot of teams with a day off today. Already 3 finals, 3 day games. St. Louis finished up a sweep of the Houston Astros. They won that game 13-5. Colorado shut out the Mets. Something you don't see from the Rockies. A 0 on the other side of the scoreboard for the other team. So, maybe Colorado, maybe things are looking up there. It was only 5 years ago that they were in the World Series, and they do have a good basis there in Colorado. They got guys like Troy Tulowitzki and Carlos Gonzalez and Tyler Colvin and some nice young and up and coming players. You just saw Rosario, their catcher, last night hit his 20th home run of the season. So promising power, and hopefully for the Rockies' sake, their pitching is on the rise. But they beat the Mets today 1-0. The Tigers in extra innings kept pace in the wild card. We'll get to the wild card standings in a second. With everyone else, they beat the Blue Jays 3-2 in 11 at Comerica. And then we got 4 games going on right now, and we got one coming up in about 45 minutes from now, later tonight, up in San Francisco. But in the top of the 7, it's the Reds 3, the Phillies 2. The Reds trying to finish up that series in Philly. Johnny Cueto versus Cole Hamels, so that's the reason for the 3-2 score. In Boston, top of the 6th, Angels 8, Red Sox 7. The Red Sox jumped out to a 6-0 lead in this ball game, but the Angels stormed back with an 8-run third inning of their own, and the Red Sox have tacked on another run to come a run closer. It is 8-7 at Fenway. Angels looking for a sweep of Boston, something that doesn't happen very often, especially in Fenway for the Angels. Tampa Bay, if they hold on to this 5-0 lead, which it looks like they will, in the bottom of the 8th at Tropicana over the A's, there will be a 4-team tie at the top of the American League wild card. It'll be the Tigers, the Orioles, the A's, and the Rays, all at the top of the American League wild card. Of course, the Rays a couple steps ahead of everybody else, but nonetheless, it's that one game, do or die, to get into the postseason with this new format. So certainly something to watch for. I can guarantee you it's not going to end in a 3 or 4-way tie. I think we're going to have the 2 teams set straight, but it'll be really messy if the season ends in a 3-way tie. Some teams not going to be very happy about not getting in the wild card, or at least playing a play-in game. Other score in Texas, Minnesota 2, Texas 2, that game top of the 5th in Arlington. And a matchup, possible playoff preview between the Atlanta Braves and the San Francisco Giants tonight. That game at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Wild card standings, you have the division leaders in the American League. You have the Yankees, Rangers, and White Sox on top. And you're about to have a 4-way tie in the wild card with Tampa Bay, Oakland, Baltimore, and Detroit, with the Angels. If they win tonight, will be 2.5 games back, so don't count them out. Possibly that team has a late run in them if they can get their pitching situated and their offense keeps performing like it does. In the National League, the wild card is the Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals, overtaking the Pittsburgh Pirates. They lead them by 1 and the Dodgers by 1.5. And after a 3-game sweep by the San Francisco Giants, they are now 2.5 up in the NL West. Washington is up on the Braves in the East, and Cincinnati is running away with the National League Central Division. So that's what's going on in baseball right now. And we have one preseason game going on as well that's about to hit halftime. Tune into ESPN to watch that. Jake Locker, 2 touchdown passes already. He's expected to be the Titans quarterback coming into this season. And, the Cardinals quarterback situation, it seems like Kevin Cobb and John Skelton just kind of killing each other's chances, but kind of evening each other out, canceling each other out. Arizona's only scored 3 points in the first half. Both those quarterbacks have struggled. Kevin Cobb has known to be quote-unquote scared as it looks in the pocket. That's what the Raiders defensive coordinator said after their preseason game last week. So we'll see how that quarterback situation works out in Arizona. But Jake Locker looks good for the Titans as the Titans lead the Arizona Cardinals 17-3 with 4 seconds to go in the first half and the second quarter. Something I saw, which it's a slow sports day when we're, talking about LeBron James and Michael Jordan comparisons, but find out which one of LeBron's teammates said, and this will surprise you, which one of LeBron's teammates said that LeBron's got a long way to go and why LeBron might never be better than Michael Jordan. After the break. Welcome back, Chris's Corner on Spreaker.com. Like I was saying right before we got to that efficiently quick commercial break. You gotta love the commercial breaks here on Spreaker.com. So much respect for Mr. Spreaker and the Spreaker Foundation and the Spreaker family. So shout out to everybody who is a part of the Spreakers. I really appreciate you guys, letting us national sports on here. Give me a follow on Twitter at MLB Insider Chris, if you want. But if not, I understand because, I'm pretty set. Mike Trout's following me. So that's what's going on. Dwayne Wade said today, in quote, referring to Michael Jordan, he's one that we haven't seen with the makeup of a 6'8" guy who runs as fast as any point guard, jumps as high as any center, and has the ability that he has to do so many things. But Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. That's who everyone shoots for. So it's going to be hard to surpass that. End quote. Do I think this is a big deal? No. Do I think other people are trying to make a big deal out of it? Yes. Why do I think people are trying to make a big deal out of it? Because they're trying to tear the Miami Heat apart and trying to make this Batman and Robin thing between LeBron James and Dwayne Wade not working. Just kind of tear it apart. Dwayne Wade isn't ready to put his Miami Heat teammate LeBron in front of Jordan. Not yet. D-Wade basically said today to ESPNChicago.com that I don't know if LeBron has the ability to surpass Jordan or not. It's going to be very difficult for him to. That's yet to be seen. My version of LeBron being paired on a par with Michael is this. They're both on the golf course. Michael is on the 18th hole. LeBron is somewhere on like the 4th hole. He's got a long way to go, but he's on par to get to the 18th hole. So, end quote. That's basically, I don't agree that LeBron James is that far away from Michael Jordan. Like, I don't think he's, as Dwayne Wade put it, 14 holes behind Michael Jordan. Obviously, Jordan's got the upper hand in championships and MVPs and what else not. But, I think that LeBron James right now is obviously the best player on the planet, and I think it's soon to be Kevin Durant, maybe in 2-3 years from now. I think Kobe in his prime was better than LeBron, but when it's all said and done, I think LeBron's going to wrap up 2 or 3 more championships with Miami. I think Miami's going to repeat this year. I think they're a lot better than they were last year with the additions of Ray Lewis and Rashard Lewis and Ray Allen. But, you know, I don't think it's a big deal. People are trying to make a big deal about it, just kind of to tear up the Miami Heat or attempt to tear them up. But, you know, this is a team who's already won an NBA championship together. I don't think there's a big deal here. One more thing that I wanted to get to, this about college football. Mississippi State is under investigation into a potential recruiting irregularity. That's pretty much what it always is with these big time schools and getting bans. Of course, you know, not the Penn State thing, but you know, you've seen a lot of recruiting violations here and there. You know, we saw USC go on a bowl ban, but you know, the school investigation is said to be nearing an end, and you know, the SEC and Mississippi State are planning on cooperating fully. Wide receivers coach Angelo Mirando resigned last Sunday, less than 2 weeks before season opener against Jackson State. In the wake of this NCAA investigation related to his recruitment of at least one player on the Bulldogs roster, he said he resigned because of unforeseen personal issues, and it is in his best interest to resign from Mississippi State. Their DB, Will Redmond, was the subject of an NCAA interview that his coach at Memphis East High School gave, according to the head coach Marcus Wimberly over at Mississippi State. But, you know, the Bulldogs hired former Minnesota coach Tim Brewster to fill Mirando's position. So we're going to see how this whole thing plays out. Obviously, Mississippi State, not a huge factor, you know, in the SEC. There's so many good teams in the SEC that, you know, Mississippi State is a very underrated team, one of the smaller schools, if you want to put it that way, in the SEC. Brett Favre's son went there, still goes there, I believe, at the quarterback. I'm not sure what their whole situation is over for the Bulldogs. And, of course, you know, a couple years ago they were trying to get Cam Newton aboard, but he ended up going to Auburn, winning a national title, and now is, you know, arguably a good quarterback in the National Football League. So watch out for that. Just keep watching the baseball. Keep watching the MLB on your TV. Playoffs are coming up. Football season is less than a week away. In a week from now, I will not be having a show, and you shouldn't be listening to any shows because you should be watching college football that we've missed for oh so long. And that's pretty much it. I'm Chris Sylvester. This 30 minutes went by too fast, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Thanks for listening on Spreaker.com. Good night, everybody.
Got my team in motion with beats these sick. He finna need a potion, he looks so slick. He got his own lotion, doing dope things. He bigger than the ocean, never stops spitting. Sesame the Cali, money flow good, put it in my wallet. Rock the